Right now, at this exact moment, there is a score attached to your name. Not your FICO score, not your credit card balance, something else. A score that knows what time you charged your phone last night. A score built from data you never agreed to share. And it's already been used to decide if you deserve a loan, an apartment, or a job. What exactly are these invisible algorithms tracking? Who gave them permission to score you? And what happens to your financial future if the score is wrong? Stay until the end, because everything I'm about to show you is documented. It's legal, and it's already happening to you. If stories like this are why you're here, hit subscribe. New case studies every week. Let's get into it. For most Americans, the credit story starts here. 1956. A mathematician named Earl Isaac and an engineer named Bill Fair built a new system. A single, clean number to tell lenders whether you were worth the risk. They named the company Fair, Isaac and Company. You know it today as FICO. By 1989, lenders across the country were using it. The premise was simple. Track how you handle debt. Do you pay on time? How much do you owe? How long have you had credit? Run the math. Assign a number. 300 to 850. High score means good borrower. Low score means high risk. Move on. For decades, that was the system. But here's the problem nobody wanted to talk about. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, approximately 26 million Americans are what the industry calls credit invisible. They have no credit file whatsoever. Another 19 million Americans have files so thin, so sparse, that the system cannot generate a reliable score. That's 45 million people walking around, working, paying rent, buying groceries, living their lives. And according to the standard credit system, they basically don't exist. Now here's the business question that changed everything. The financial industry, worth trillions of dollars, was not going to ignore 45 million potential customers. So they built something new, something the standard system didn't cover, something most people have never heard of. By the mid-2000s, an entire industry had quietly taken shape. They were called data brokers, companies whose entire business model is to collect, aggregate, and sell information about you. Not to you, about you, to anyone willing to pay for it. In 2014, the Federal Trade Commission published a landmark report. The FTC identified 9 major data broker companies, and what they found was staggering. One company alone held information on 1.4 billion consumer transactions. Another had accumulated over 700 billion individual data elements. 700 billion. And these weren't names you'd recognize. Not Experian or TransUnion. We're talking about LexisNexis Risk Solutions, CoreLogic, Axiom. Companies that operate entirely in the background. Now, what were they doing with all this data? They were building scores. Not FICO scores, different scores, entirely separate systems. Scores that lenders, landlords, employers, and insurers could purchase to make decisions about you. According to LexisNexis's own product documentation, their RiskView scoring system uses over 442 alternative data attributes: public records, court filings, address history, property ownership, tax lien records, bankruptcy records stretching back decades. Axiom, one of the largest data brokers in the world, developed a classification system called Mosaic that sorts every American consumer into one of 70 segments, based on purchasing behavior, lifestyle data, and estimated income. And lenders started buying it. According to CFPB research published in 2016, major banks were already supplementing FICO scores with this alternative data to make 2 decisions: who gets approved and what rate they pay. If your alternative score flagged you as high risk, based on data you never provided to any lender, your interest rate went up, or you got denied, and you had no idea why. Now here's where it gets complicated. The credit system most people know the one governed by the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FCRA, comes with specific legal protections. You have the right to see your file. You have the right to dispute errors. You have the right to know when a credit decision was made against you. That law was written in 1970, and here's the documented problem. The alternative scoring industry, operating in a legal gray zone, was not required to follow the same rules. In 2014, the FTC concluded that several data brokers were operating outside the scope of FCRA oversight, meaning consumers had no guaranteed right to access or correct the information being used to make financial decisions about them. One documented case, Spokeo. Spokeo operated a data broker platform that compiled personal profiles on millions of Americans. According to the FTC's official case records, Spokeo marketed its products to employers, recruiters, and the financial sector in ways the FTC determined violated the FCRA, because Spokeo had not established the consumer protections the law required. The result? Spokeo paid an $800,000 settlement to the FTC. That's a documented, finalized settlement. Public record. But Spokeo was one company. By 2014, there were hundreds of data brokers in operation, many of them selling consumer scores, many of them arguing they weren't consumer reporting agencies under the law, and therefore exempt from its protections. Then came the fintech revolution, and the scale of what was being measured was about to grow in ways the 1970 law was never designed to handle. The fintech revolution didn't just bring new apps and faster loans. It brought a new question. If 45 million Americans can't be scored by traditional methods, can artificial intelligence find patterns in other data to fill the gap? A company called Upstart Holdings said yes. Upstart launched an AI-powered lending platform that, according to its own SEC filings, uses variables including education history and employment history to predict whether a borrower will default. Not just your debt, not just your payment history, where you went to school, where you work, how long you stayed there. In 2017, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau issued Upstart a formal no-action letter, one of the first in the Bureau's history. The CFPB acknowledged that Upstart's model showed genuine potential to expand credit access to underserved Americans. That's documented. Upstart went public on NASDAQ in December 2020, with a market capitalization that reached over $33 billion at its peak. But here's what else the fintech era brought in. According to documented reporting and academic research published by the National Bureau of Economic Research in 2019, machine learning models for credit risk had been tested and deployed using variables that went far beyond court records and job history. The type of phone you own, what time of day you browse the internet, whether you use all capital letters when filling out a loan application, how often your phone battery reaches zero. These are not theories. The NBER paper found statistically significant correlations between digital footprint variables and loan default rates. Documented, published, peer-reviewed, and according to research by the World Bank's International Finance Corporation, lenders in Southeast Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa had already deployed mobile data scoring commercially for real loans to real people with real consequences. The infrastructure existed. The incentive existed. The regulation was still catching up. Here is where things stand today. Based on public records, in 2022, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau released its report on Buy Now, Pay Later lending. The Bureau formally documented its concern that BNPL companies were collecting behavioral and transactional data on consumers in ways that could create new forms of financial scoring, entirely outside traditional oversight. In 2023, the CFPB announced it was formally examining whether data brokers should be reclassified as consumer reporting agencies under the FCRA. If they were, Consumers would gain rights. Rights to see the data. Rights to dispute it. Rights to know when it was used against them. And in January 2025, the CFPB finalized a rule that did exactly that. Under the rule, companies selling consumer data used in credit, employment, housing, or insurance decisions would be legally classified as consumer reporting agencies, with all of the oversight that entails. The industry pushed back immediately. The Consumer Data Industry Association filed suit to block the rule from taking effect. As of early 2025, the rule's implementation remained legally contested. Meanwhile, the market for alternative credit data was valued at over $2 billion annually, according to industry reports. And according to research by Javelin Strategy and Research, by 2024, approximately 60% of lenders reported using some form of alternative data in their underwriting process. 60%. The system that started as a gray market workaround had become the mainstream. 6 out of 10 lenders using data you never consented to share to make decisions that shape your financial life. So what does this mean for you right now? First, you have more credit scores than you know about. Your FICO score, your Vantage score, specialty scores used by auto lenders, mortgage companies, insurance carriers, and landlords, and alternative scores built from public records and behavioral data. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you already have the legal right to request your consumer report from specialty bureaus. The CFPB maintains a public list of consumer reporting companies, specialty agencies you've never heard of, that you can request reports from directly. That list is on the CFPB's official website. It is free. It is your legal right, and most people have never used it. Second, if you have a thin credit file or no file at all, opt-in tools like Experian Boost and Ultra FICO exist specifically to help you build your credit profile using data you actually have. Utility payments, rent, streaming subscriptions. The CFPB has documented that these tools can meaningfully raise scores for thin-file consumers. They are opt-in. You control the data. That is a real, documented distinction from the scores built without you. Third, the regulatory landscape is actively shifting. What the CFPB, the FTC, and state regulators do in the next few years will determine whether consumers gain real transparency into these systems, or whether the shadow scoring industry continues to operate without accountability. And fourth, the most important thing is simply this: your financial reputation exists in more places than your FICO score. Decisions are being made about you, using data you may not be able to see, by companies you've never heard of, but now you know it exists. So here's the question I want to leave you with. If a financial algorithm can legally use data about your phone habits, your browsing patterns, and your behavior to make decisions about your housing, your credit, and your employment, should you have the legal right to see exactly what that score says? Should it even be legal to use it without your knowledge? Drop your answer in the comments. I read all of them, and if this story changed how you think about your financial data, share it, because someone you know is being scored right now, and they have absolutely no idea. If you want more documented stories about the financial system shaping your world, stories built on public records, filings, and verified reporting, not theories, not opinions, subscribe, because the next case study, you're going to want to see it.